Hi, this is Mike DiMartino, co-creator and executive producer of Avatar.
Hi, I'm Kisu. I'm the martial art consultant for the motion TV show Avatar.
Motion TV. I gotta get one of those.
Hey, I got one.
This is Bryan Konietzko. I'm the other co-creator and co-executive and I don't know. I do some stuff.
He does a lot of stuff on the show.
So, this is a very special episode of Avatar because after many episodes, we were waiting for the right character to model after our good friend Sifu Kisu. And although many personalities and little anecdotes of characters had been modeled after my experiences being a student of Kisu's, we finally, he's like, make me someone cool. So finally we said, the Sword Master.
Couldn't have been any cooler, this guy. It looks like he stole my soul.
And then voiced by the great actor Robert Patrick, who was made famous as T-1000 and T-1000. And
I was very pleased. He's a really good choice.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
Yeah, I gotta say, the first time we saw the animation come back, it was a little startling to see you, Kisu, in animated form, talking to us with a different voice.
It really scared the heck out of me. I looked at it, I was like, oh my god, they've stolen my soul.
I really like the way the lighting came out for this meteor shower. I like that right there, where the meteor actually lights up the canyon. So this is another episode, as most of the ones in Season 3, where the landscape is heavily inspired by some reference photos I took in Iceland. These crazy moss-covered volcanic formations. And where the kids are camping, the idea is that the Fire Nation, being so industrious, that they've strip mined a lot of their land for minerals, so they can smelt metal for their ships and all their war machines. So originally the idea was that the Fire Nation was going to be very industrialized and a lot of strip mines, and we didn't really get that much of it in. I mean, if you look around through Season 3, you'll see some factories and stuff, but that was the inspiration behind that.
I was reminded today by Sung-hyun, our supervising director, that this is the Annie combo episode where Giancarlo, director, won an Annie Award, which is a animation award, and the animation director, Director Yu in Korea, also won for character animation. So some very talented folks working on this episode, and it was written by Tim Hedrick. Always adds a great sense of humor to his episodes.
Only the best for you, Sifu Kisu. We assembled a crack team. So this is a great little B-plot that also came from the writing retreat that we took before Season 3. We had this idea that, we meet Uncle's character after his big height of fame and glory as a general, and he's sort of in retirement, but this begins his transformation back to that fierce general. Let me see that he's...
It's pretty amazing that, you've touched on the art of war here, that the whole tactic of, if someone, thinks that you're beneath contempt, they don't pay attention to you.
And the art of war is an ancient text, right?
It's a manual toward the domination of other human beings.
And it was written for that purpose and has since been adopted by corporations all over America. I think that's its main function now. Hostile takeovers in the corporate world.
It's got some really interesting stuff based on the Tao, the way of know your enemy, know yourself, and 1,000 battles you'll never be defeated. It's interesting to watch Uncle's transformation because you just think he's this fat old man, but you don't get to be the top general of the Fire Nation and the next person in line for the throne without having something special going on.
I like how he bides his time too. He's very careful about when he makes his move.
Well, that's something we've seen from the beginning with Uncle. He's always been very patient. He's always, created the facade of, gentleness or weakness until just the key moment where action is needed, and then he acts decisively.
Yeah, because you really get a sense that he's got tons of power, but we actually haven't shown him fight that much, really.
Yeah, a few little moments.
Little dashes.
Yeah.
Now, this tickles me to death because this is...
Okay, this joke here, we gotta comment on this. Because,
the music, by the way, Jeremy Zuckerman on the electric guitar there.
And then I just swing this around and bend air out like a blade. Yeah, nice. I'll just stick to what I got.
I love the pizza cutter.
Everything that Aang is wearing sort of represents stylistic elements that Mike and I don't really care for. But everyone wanted Aang to, is there any way he could, in the series, become 25 years old, have stubble, more bladed weapons, maybe a motorcycle, an eye patch?
Now, that sword right there is something special. That's actually drawn from something I brought back in 2001 from China, from the Zhongzhou Wushu Festival. It's one of the commemorative swords that they made for the 1500th year of the Shaolin Temple in China.
So yeah, not only did we model, Master Piandao after Sifu Kisu, but the three main swords that we see in this episode are all from his collection. That one that he just mentioned, Piandao's own sword, is a Qing Dynasty sword, right?
Yeah, it's about based on a 300, maybe even 400-year-old sword.
And then the one that they forged for Sokka was a really beautiful sword.
And that was a contemporary piece that I found when we were visiting Wudang Mountain, Wutang Mountain in China last September.
This is a fun little gag.
I love my house. I'll be waiting.
I like that little freak out.
And this guy is based on your servant at home, right, Kisu?
Absolutely. Jeeves is well respected and knows kung fu.
Exactly.
Excellent.
It's just a pillow he wears in his robe to deceive his enemies.
I love the setup, though, that you guys did with him presenting himself to the master. And, the master just assumes he's going to be, one more big mouth, know-it-all.
I love this room. This came out really nicely.
Where I come from, the Fire Nation.
We wanted, this Zen feeling for this master that's so common in these sorts of stories. That he spends most of his time with meditative practices and puts a lot of import on those.
Well, it's been historically documented that, most great generals have seen, like, a lot of turmoil, have seen a lot of, horror, retire and become gardeners or, painters or calligraphers or, artistes, musicians.
Yeah, like Musashi, the poet, actor, painter, sculptor.
Now that just, my profile, that just chilled me the first time I saw it. I was like, oh my God, who's that guy? I'm kind of cute, though. A little older there, though.
Well, we had to age you a bit.
I love Sokka's look, right there. It's like, you will?
This is a rare, structurally, this is a rare episode for us because the two act breaks end on someone being really happy. Like, something good's gonna happen. Usually it's like, you have to fight an army. So what do you think about this sequence, Sifu?
This was taken from, actually kind of an amalgamation of different sword styles that we practice. In particular, Lung Ham Gim, the walking dragon swordsmanship. And you guys animated it precisely.
Well, we didn't, but some great talented people did in Korea.
Well, we were a collective effort from top to
True,
bottom.
true. I love the way Momo runs in there and flops down. It really reminds me of my dog.
I love the way Toph is picking her nose
yes.
vigorously.
Ben or Aaron, the Foley artist, I'm not sure, did some great sound for her just digging in there like a wet sponge.
I like the whole, I picked my toes twice. Just for the pure sensation of picking. I love that.
So there you can see the strip mine. Oh man, Uncle, he's got his feet on these metal bars. It's pretty intense.
And also, this is one of the classic trainings of hanging upside down. The Shaolin Temple, they do that, and lock you into these braces, and because the waist like a snake is one of the requirements for a high-level martial artist.
So luckily, Sung-hyun, our supervising director, he's from Korea and he has some experience writing calligraphy. So I mean, Mike and I don't really know the tools involved in the proper way. We maybe reference things from movies, but it was great. Greg Rankin, our videographer, filmed Sung-hyun doing this whole process of setting up the paper and the ink. But obviously Sokka just comes in and just like a bull in a tea shop. No, China shop? Bull in a something. I don't know. Tea shop. That'd be messy too. That's a good Kisu moment there.
That was a good Kisu look for sure.
There's one coming up that's very. I think we filmed you.
But this is classic. I love this.
Hey, what else can you do but run away? It's good self-defense.
Yeah, story-wise, I thought that was really smart of Tim and Aaron to come up with, there's a lot of talking and informational stuff in these lessons, but we needed to show, Sokka actually physically progressing and show that he's getting better as a swordsman, too.
So this is Gullfoss, which is a very famous waterfall in Iceland, and it's from some photos that I took there. And then after this episode was, the designers and I based this amazing waterfall on this, and it was painted, referencing the photos, and then the animation came back, and then Mike came into work one day, and he's like, hey, I think I saw that waterfall on Sunrise, was it Sunrise?
Sunrise Earth, yeah.
Sunrise Earth. I think they painted it so well.
That reaction right there, the animation's great. That sigh.
That was very much. I think I've gotten that look from Sifu Kisu a lot of times in class. This that concentrating on what you're doing, there's a story behind that. And when Sokka was swinging the nunchucks around, the two-section staff, this actually comes from personal experience. One day in class, Sifu Kisu turns around and hands me some solid oak nunchucks and says, here, you're going to learn two-section staff now. And I, was very excited. The 12-year-old boy in me was like, wow, my own nunchucks. But he recognized this look on my face, and he says, don't think I'm giving you these because you're good. I'm giving you these because you have a problem concentrating. And these will train you to be aware of, where the other end is at any moment. And the second you're not aware, it's going to find you.
Should have found you.
5 minutes later, I hit myself in the head with these solid oak nunchucks, and man, that hurt.
I have a tendency to giggle at the wrong moments too. I'm so sorry.
No, it was. But anyways, so that line is definitely about that, and Sokka does just that when he's at the weapon shop.
Now, we did some really amazing stuff with the sword applications, like the disarms, the footwork, the connecting, the distancing was all very authentic and very. I don't even have a word for it.
This not only was it fun basing this character on Sifu Kisu, but I think this was one of the most fun yet challenging and vigorous kung fu reference sessions we've ever had. I mean, there were multiple sessions for this episode, but for this whole crazy fight in the end, it's not even a fight. It's more of a test that Pian Dao is putting Sokka through. I mean, I don't think you and I had ever worked so hard.
I think it's some of the best two-man combative work we did, except probably for the Azula and Zuko fight with the fingernails that we didn't get to use. Oops.
Another happy act break. I'm happy! So, the crazy thing about when we were doing this vigorous reference, we each had these like foam training swords, and we were in the Nickelodeon gym just battling, and there was so much choreography that we just improvised a lot of it, and the storyboard artist Mike Chang sort of took pieces of it. But there we are. I'm standing up on these bleachers. Kisu's down on the ground. We're fighting. I got stabbed in the leg, even though it was a foam sword. It hurt really bad. And the door opens up, and Serena Williams walks in to the gym, and she says, "Wow, what a great way to, what an amazing job. You work so hard and stay in shape." Now this is Serena Williams, who's just like has to be one of the most in shape people in the world, and I'm huffing and puffing and sweating and about to faint. And I'm like, she just walked into the one moment where we were moving around.
I think we've got a picture proof of that one.
We do. It was an honor to meet her. She's a big Avatar fan, and later did a voice for Avatar.
Did she?
She did.
And she works in the prison. Friends with Uncle Iroh.
I love that the kids think they're being sneaky. Like, no one's going to notice they have this giant rock with this huge trough behind it.
They're all really strong. They pushed it really hard.
Like that little look that Piandao is just like,
The Earth.
That looks pretty funny. This is a great sequence storyboarded by Singhyun. We normally fear doing montages. They can be either really boring or trite or I don't know. But this one, I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, this one came out. Tells a story.
Tells a story.
I like the whole concept of him having to construct his weapon too.
Yeah.
And having to earn it, and
Yeah.
you see some dedication.
He's got to stay up late,
Yeah.
keep the fire going.
And that's something we've shown all the way through the show is that, none of the bendings, comes automatically. It's not something that just, magically appears, but it comes from a series of efforts of really sacrificial works that you have to do in order to develop a skill.
And again, that shot where Piandao is watching Sokka, and Sokka doesn't know. Singhyun put that in, and it's a great example of everything Piandao does with Sokka is a test or a training sequence. And even this big long fight, it's not really a fight. Sokka thinks it's a fight, but at the end he realizes it was sort of his initiation, or
Well, his whole reason for selecting him as a student was all based on character. And that's what it comes down to. There's a saying in traditional Chinese martial art, in China you pay in character, in the States you pay in cash.
But I mean, that's a good point. That this guy, I'm sure he's trained thousands. I'm sure he was a general, and by this point, he's probably tired of all these assertive personalities he's run into, and it makes sense that he says, "Well, I have a gift. I'm a sword master, and who am I going to pass this? Who am I going to pass this along to? Just other aggressive, talented people, or someone with character? So,
Someone who won't misuse it.
yeah, and maybe Sokka will never be the best swordsman, but his judgment will help."
I think more importantly too is when a master selects someone to pass on something rare, he's really looking for someone that is going to preserve it, because these arts are getting rarer and rarer all the time. Who uses a sword to fight anymore? You don't use a sword to fight. You use a sword to develop your skill, and to develop your energy, and to move your chi, your life force energy, beyond your hand through your weapon into your opponent's weapon, into your opponent. And so it's something much greater than just learning to poke a hole in someone. It teaches you self-control and a spatial awareness, and it raises the spirit. It makes you a more enlightened person. If your mind isn't in the moment, every second you have a sword, you're going to cut yourself really bad.
So here begins some really amazing animation. We're all very proud of this whole sequence. Every aspect that came out really nice.
And this is based on a series of traditional very deadly sword applications.
Do
Kids,
not do this at home.
don't do this at home. Don't even play like this. Never point a sword at anyone. It's impolite
And dangerous.
and dangerous.
So, just imagine Nickelodeon Jim, Kisu chasing me around with a foam sword.
We did this in a series of different places. We did it on the stairs out front of the
True,
studio,
that's true.
the courtyard, the bleachers. We pulled out all the stops for this. And
This is about when Serena Williams walked in.
Yeah.
I think
we were up on top of the bleachers. And said,
Yeah.
what do we do from here? I said, hey, I got an idea.
Yeah, this has great. I love the sound design that Ben Wynn did in this section. That, like, you really feel the swords, like the weight of the swords coming together and stuff.
This right here, that was so ninja. So I just have certain classic, martial movie things that I like, and that just totally was an icon of all of that. That's so great.
I like Sokka. We have all this great action and then just some goofy stuff. Nice sound design there.
Sweet.
But that was some subtle animation that can be very difficult for TV, but came out nicely, showing that he's got some sand in his eyes. He tries to open them, but it's too painful.
And the cool thing is, even though it looks like he's bent on, really doing Sokka in, he's teaching him the whole time with all of his commentary, all of the angles.
But you figure, like, this guy's so good that I assume you've had experiences like this, Kisu, where, like, he's obviously in control of every move he does. So he's not going to do anything that would actually permanently injure Sokka.
Yeah. Being a master, if this was a real fight, it would have been over in probably the first second and a half.
A real sword fight lasts less than 1.7 seconds.
Yeah. So
it's not a pretty thing, a sword fight. A sword fight is all about finding a vital point on your opponent,
yeah.
poking it.
So this was a lesson. This was training.
Why would you agree to trade
So that was another cool. In the background behind Pinned Out, that was this crazy formation I saw in Iceland where the ground had opened up, sort of like those pods in Alien. Just like, it was crazy. Some volcanic activity.
If you stay on this path, I know that one day you'll become an even greater master than I am.
And it was a new background team that did these paintings in Korea, and they just came out so beautifully in this episode.
Yeah, this feels, of all the episodes, this feels like a place you could go visit, because a lot of it is.
Yeah.
You can go to Iceland and visit it.
This is director Kong's team in Seoul.
I do want to say that I appreciate, out of all the characters that you could have drawn me as, someone who's, so strong and dedicated to the essence of martial virtue. I'm really, honored and flattered to be, involved in.
Our pleasure. It only took 3 seasons to find the right character.
Yeah, it's okay.
We were going to make you the cabbage version, but just felt he was too tall and imposing. It's a little tribute to the Nick Splat that lives in the lower right corner of our screen whenever we're storyboarding.
Yeah, I remember that was in the script, and I was like, "Well, we're not going to really do that, are we?" And then we did it. It's kind of funny.
It came out kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Sifu Kisu, for lending your beautiful likeness to this episode.
Hey, thank you guys. I really, you did me justice. I look better than I do in real life.
It was a fun episode. Thanks to Giancarlo for doing a great job directing, and all the board artists and everyone who worked on it.
And the animation team was just awesome. They just take it to the next level.
Great job, as always.
Thanks, everyone.